not to mention race, bias against children living in poverty, children with disabilities. Every other issue that they may have is compounded by the fact that they are also placed in foster care. They're not with family. They're not with people that are their biological connections. And we realized pretty early on that this was going to be a challenge for us to get involved. We did, however, I think from this, from the beginning, start to meet people that were a lot more like us. When we started attending Pride training, we met other couples who wanted to adopt from foster care. And we also met people who wanted to help kids in foster care, but didn't really want to make that big step into becoming a foster parent, or becoming a mentor, or becoming an advocate, and wanted to find other ways to get involved. And at the time, I was working in an advertising firm. My husband's in the pharmaceutical business. And I said, there's got to be another way for us to make it easier for people to help these children. We know that they're out there. There are people in our communities who want to reach the kids who just may not be ready to make that big of a commitment to becoming a foster parent. So I started, thinking it over a little while. My husband had actually decided after Antonio was removed that we weren't going to foster anymore. He couldn't handle the heartbreak of losing another child. We had really grown incredibly attached to Antonio. And a few months passed. We went away for our anniversary, I believe it was our 2-year wedding anniversary. And went away that weekend and came home and got a phone call from a caseworker at the Division of Youth and Family Services saying, I got your phone number from a friend of yours that we had met in our training classes. And she said you're interested in taking a newborn baby. And we have a 3-day-old baby in the hospital, ready to go home tonight, and it is a pre-adoptive placement. This child is going to be placed for adoption. The mother has lost custody of her 3 oldest children. They've all since been adopted. So immediately I drove home, ran into the house, and literally begged my husband for probably 3 hours to please just give us one more shot. And I just said, I know this is my baby. And he said, but it's a girl. And we always had boys, and you don't want girls, you want boys. So I said, no, I just know she's mine. So he gave in. He said, we will not do this again. And she came to us that night. That was our wedding anniversary. She was born 3 days before, and she was just this perfect little baby. She was amazing from the day she came to us. And I did know the second I held her that she was going to be mine. And 2 weeks later, I found out I was pregnant. So I have 2 daughters who are 8.5 months apart now.
How do you explain that?
Yeah. It's interesting because my older daughter is African American as well, and my younger daughter is blonde hair and blue eyes. So I have a lot of explaining to do right now. But her adoption took about 2 years, even though it was an uncontested adoption. In the state of New Jersey, there's all sorts of laws that prohibit adoptions from happening fast through the foster care system. Some of them are such outdated laws, they really don't apply at all anymore. Things like publishing in the newspaper that a child is going to be adopted and asking any potential father to come forward. Silly things that nobody ever responds to that take months of our court's time, a lot of money, a lot of state money. And so it was a very frustrating process, but here we are today. Both of our daughters, they're 4 and 3 now. About to be 4 and 4 in 2 months. And they're both happy and healthy and perfectly wonderful. And in the course of having created this very quick, instant family, I also did take some time on maternity leave to come up with this program, One Simple Wish. So there is a reason why I gave all that background. I decided that I wanted to finally develop a way for more people to help kids in care. I knew that for us, we were not going to be taking children into the house anymore. We had 2 toddlers. We live in a 2-bedroom townhouse. I knew it was going to be tight, so we decided, let's launch this program. Let's make it easy for anybody who says, I want to help, and how do I help that child to do so? So I developed the business plan for One Simple Wish in the summer of 2008, and working with some of the people that I had worked with through the advertising firms that I had been with, we developed this website. And the way that our site works is we partner directly with the Division of Youth and Family Services here in the state of New Jersey, as well as organizations like Children's Home Society, Boys and Girls Clubs, Big Brothers Big Sisters, Women's Space, the Family Service Centers that are throughout our state, and several other organizations that serve foster children and vulnerable or at-risk families and young people. And we allow them to create an account on our website, and at any time they could submit a simple wish for a child or a family that they're serving. And by doing so, we then put a value on that, place it onto the website, and allow anybody to search the database of wishes anytime, grant that wish. All they have to do is send the money to One Simple Wish. We purchase that specific item, and we send it directly to the child or family. And the reason that this is so powerful, I think there's many reasons, but a lot of times, there are drives that are held for families in need, children in need. And, it might be everybody gets a book bag, everybody gets a winter coat, everybody gets new socks. It's not really ever somebody asking these children, is there something you would really like? Or, what do you really enjoy doing? Because for some children, it might not be a basketball. It might be a puzzle. For another child, it might be, I really want to try karate or gymnastics. But they don't have the same family support network as many, of us grew up with, to be able to just go to a parent or go to a friend, an aunt or a grandparent and say, I'd like to do this. A lot of them are growing up in a stranger's house. They're waking up in that unfamiliar environment. So sometimes they're afraid to come out of their shell, or if they do, they've been shot down before, so they're afraid that it's going to happen again. So what we do is we give them a way, they can talk to their caseworkers, they can talk to their guidance counselors, and they can ask for something very specific that's unique, something they really want. And in doing so, we also are educating the public about these very specific needs through individual children. So you can read about that individual child's likes, dislikes, their characteristics. We don't do anything self-identifiable, so you can't go on and figure out who this child is. We protect the confidentiality, but you can go and see, Jane has a beautiful smile. She really loves the color purple. She loves flowers and she would like to get a gardening kit for this spring. So it talks, it will talk about, maybe how long she's been in foster care, how many homes that she lived in, why she wants to garden, who she's going to garden with. And it gives our donors a real sense of personal connection to who they're helping. You can go on the site with $20 or $10, and you can find a wish that really resonates with you. So if it's something, if you're a gardener, or you're somebody who really enjoys reading, or you really enjoy a particular sport, you can even search by those keywords, and you can come up with wishes there that are related to those things that you like as well, and make that happen for somebody else. And that's really what our program is mostly about, is creating those one-to-one connections, getting people to really get to know one another, allowing people in a glimpse into the lives of children who have very unfortunate outcomes for the most part. The majority of children in foster care enter care, will re-enter care. It's about 40% of the children who enter care will at some point in their life enter care again. Most of the children live in an average, I think it's now 5.2 placements, which means they move 5 times in the course of care. That means they switch schools oftentimes. They lose friends. They lose any connections that they've made, whether it's as simple as knowing who your mailman is, as it is to the bed you're sleeping in. So we really do try to provide a sense of normalcy in the lives of children who have otherwise lost all sense of normalcy. And it's heartbreaking to think about this, but even when we had children in our home who were abused, there's nothing they wanted more than to be back with their parents. They wanted to be home. They wanted to be with their mom and dad. They didn't know a different life. So for us, we, with One Simple Wish, we really strive to give these kids a sense that there's somebody out there who's thinking about them, that what they think matters, that what they want matters. And that being, it's good to be unique. We celebrate their differences. We celebrate their individual wants and needs. And we try to make it so that they feel like there's a place they can go to, if they need something. Our state does provide support to foster children in a variety of capacities. Whether that support is, the room and board they pay the foster parents, or some form of money called flex funds. But for the caseworkers to get flex funds is very challenging. So they have to jump through hoops to get, an extra $20 or $30 for these children, where they can just call us and say, we have a child right now who needs new cleats, he wants to be on the soccer team, we don't have the flex funds for it, the foster parent can't afford them, can you get them, and we can have them to them the next day. So it's a nice resource that we offer that doesn't make them feel like they have to go through so much as well, so that they at least will start asking the children again. Because a lot of times what was happening is they weren't asking kids anymore what they needed. They were doing the basics, they have a lot of kids on their caseload, and moving on.